Welcome to the Career Wanderlust podcast, your compass for new career horizons. Today, we are talking with Andrew Freeman. Andrew is the founder of AF&Co and Carbonate, both highly respected lifestyle, restaurant, and hospitality marketing, media relations, and brand consulting firms. Prior to founding AF&Co, Andrew held senior public relations roles with esteemed restaurant and hospitality brands such as the Russian Tea Room, the Rainbow Room, and Kimpton Hotels. Andrew has also been named one of the top 25 most extraordinary minds in sales and marketing by the Hospitality Sales and Marketing Association International. Andrew, thank you for joining us on the Career Wanderlust podcast. Please, could you share with us what you feel has been some of your most important career advice and why?
Okay. Hi, everybody. Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Love it.
It's a pleasure to be here. I should mention that and I didn't even tell you this, Jolie, but I just got named one of PR News's People of the Year. So yeah,
Congratulations.
yes,
That's so
yes, yes.
exciting.
So it's very exciting. It literally just happened.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. So the career advice, it's really funny. I don't, I started as an actor. That's how this whole thing started, right?
Okay,
I was an
fascinating.
I was actor, dancer, singer, like wannabe New York,
Uh-huh.
and it led me to waiting tables like every good actor. And, and I think, you know, ha- I was fairly successful, a couple things here and there, but I sort of self-realized that well, first of all, I fell in love with the restaurant business
Mhm.
and because it's so similar to acting, like
Yeah.
hospitality at large is very similar to showbiz, lights, camera, action, what goes on
Yes.
behind the scenes, nobody cares about, and the audience is there for entertainment and you
Mhm.
better provide it. Right. So I get off topic a little bit, but I say this
I
because
like this comparison.
when I went on this path of being an actor, I self-managed myself out of that because I was working with another actor who was 50 years old at the time
Mhm.
and also waiting tables. And I was like, this can't be me. I had a
Right.
marketing degree. My parents were very much get your degree and then you can do whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
And so I just decided to pursue this restaurant thing. And that led me to going to culinary school. And that
Oh,
led me to taking my marketing and my love of food and everything and pushing it together and introducing myself as a restaurant marketer, which led to these jobs that you talked about. And then I got this opportunity to come to San Francisco with Kimpton Hotels. And through that 10-year process, I really got to know the hotel world. And then I decided to do my own thing. So my
mhm.
advice is like never be too black and white. Be gray.
Right.
Especially when it comes to your career, like
Mhm.
early on, as much as I hate it, that I have to call you because somebody who's been here 2 years has decided to leave. I also understand that they're on their young path of their career
Right.
and that, can't expect them to be a 40-year employee. I wish they
Mhm.
would be, but I can't. So I think I always say when life is a highway, like take a lot of exits,
Yeah.
and don't be afraid to get lost because getting lost could lead to something like incredible.
Mhm.
And it can also pull you back to what you loved, or you can return home.
Oh, yeah.
So I think, going through the pandemic and everything, like we had just, even when I did AFCO, I thought to myself, I'll do it for a year while I'm figuring out what I really want to do with my life. And that was 18 years ago. And I still every day wake up thinking we're like an entrepreneurial company because we're still doing new things and we're still looking at new opportunities. So, you know, just be open to everything.
Yeah. It's great advice. I mean, and there is so much opportunity out there. We are surrounded by opportunity like nothing, no one before us has experienced.
Yeah.
So we're really in a unique position. And I love that you took all of these areas because we do have these special areas of skill sets. We have these strengths that we each have. And we also have these interests that we each have. And I love that you brought your area of genius, basically. You found your area of genius, merging all of those areas. So that's also great advice within your story.
Yeah, I always say, like, if you're joining AFCO or even doing what any of us do, it's a lifestyle, it's not a job. So if you don't love to eat and you don't love to drink and you don't love to travel and you want a 9 to 5, go to a bank.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Right.
or, like, there's jobs for you, like, because and I'm saying this, it's not for everybody
Mhm.
because, because it's definitely a lifestyle.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, and it is. It's a matter of finding the thing that's right for you, and that's the key aspect to making your career go as high as it can is that you are engaged in a career that is right for you.
Yeah.
So, so now tell us a story. I love a good story. Can you share a story about something that happened within your own work career that was an impactful lesson for you or event that just really had this impact and you learned something? What happened and what
Right.
did you learn?
I guess I can tell if you wouldn't mind, I can tell 2.
Yeah,
I'll
I
keep
love
it
yeah.
short. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me was, when I was I was in New York. I grew up in New Jersey,
Mhm,
right before the Lincoln Tunnel, like,
mhm,
exit 153A.
mhm,
And, and as a young little gay kid, who
mhm,
everybody knew I was gay but me, and, all who love Broadway, and I don't know if that's built in. I don't know how that happens, but, all I wanted to do was to get to New York City. Like, that
mhm.
was all I wanted to do was to get to New York City.
Yeah.
And luckily I had a grandmother who lived in New York City. So
Okay.
there were moments of I can't even explain to you, but my earliest memories are being, like, taken by my grandma around New York and going to
Yeah,
restaurants and hotels and having tea and
so great.
everything, and, my first memory was when I finally decided to make this move into restaurants.
Mhm,
I had always wanted to go to the Union Square Cafe. Danny Meyer is a mentor of mine,
mhm,
um, and I had read about it, but I was in my young 20s and I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I can really afford that." And when I got the opportunity to go work at the French Culinary Institute, my interview was held at Union Square Cafe.
oh, how great. I love
Yeah.
things like that.
And so I walked in and I was like, "I have made it."
Yes.
Like, I have made it. Like, this is it. And so, career moments like that. And then,
Yeah.
mentors are so important to me. And Dorothy Cann Hamilton, who founded the French Culinary Institute, became a real mentor of mine, like, literally that day at
Amazing.
lunch at the Union Square Cafe. So
Amazing.
everything came together. My second story is a funnier one. Um, I made a decision on my 40th birthday. I woke up that morning and I thought, I'm going to go in and give notice today because I'm going to start my own company.
Now,
Um,
how long have you been thinking about this? Because you
well,
said you woke up. So
it was my 10th anniversary.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I've been thinking about it because the one thing when I was working at Kimpton, I was responsible for all these hotel and restaurant
Hmm.
openings. So I was hiring agencies all over the country.
Hmm.
And I kept thinking to myself, I could do it better. I could do it better. I know what,
You could
I
do
know
it.
what,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Hmm.
So I'd been thinking about it for probably the last 2 or 3 years leading up to that moment. But
Hmm.
that morning I woke up, it was my birthday and I was in my 10th anniversary. And I thought, I'm going to go do it today. And I walked in to do it. And my boss said, no. She's like, no, you're not doing this. And then I said, no, I really am doing it. And she said, well, then you have to give us 6 months notice. And if you give us 6 months notice, we'll become your first client.
Ooh.
So it worked out, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So now I'm working at Kimpton, I'm planning my company, and the original company name was Andrew Freeman and Co. That was Andrew Freeman and Co. Because I
Yeah.
was convinced everybody knows who I am, so better to have my name in it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm on the step climber, like, I had done all my branding, everything was done, and I'm on my step climber, and I'm reading a book called $1 Million Consulting.
Hmm.
And the second rule was never name the company your name.
Oh, just should have read this book a few weeks earlier.
Well, I ended up doing it, but then 5 years in, we changed it to AF&Co because I also just I don't want it to be all about me. Like, that's not my thing. Like,
Yeah.
I want it to be about the other people on the team, and I also can't be on every call and everything. So the conversation of always like, "Where's Andrew? It's Andrew Freeman and Company." Like,
Yeah.
so anyway,
Right.
that's sort of a
Yeah.
funny moment.
No, that's a good tip too, not to name your
Yeah,
company after yourself.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
because now I'm curious because, when you did start, is there any advice? Because look, a lot of people do make the switch from working for someone to creating their own consultancy. Is there any advice you'd give someone who is thinking about starting their own consultancy?
Don't do it. No, it's
Stop.
yeah. You know, no,
Not what I was expecting.
yeah. There's some days that I might say that
Yeah.
seriously, because I think people think it's, I will tell you, my ex-husband
Mhm.
thought it was gonna be like Sex and the City. I was gonna be Samantha Jones, right? It was gonna be very sexy and, like it was gonna like, and then the reality was I had people sleeping on our living room floor, getting presentations done and trying to figure out what we were gonna do. And I was working 24/7. And so I'd say the first thing is like, go in with your eyes wide open
Mhm.
because you're not going to have your paycheck anymore. You're not going to
Right.
have your IT department. You're you are all those
Everything.
things
Mhm.
on that day,
Yep.
and you can eventually build it out to get support, but you're all those things, all those days. And so I would say that's the number one thing is,
Mhm.
really think, do you as much freedom as you're going to get in your mind, you're gonna
Mhm.
have a whole new set of handcuffs, like different different things. And, that's number one. Number two, yeah, it is good being your own boss, but you also have to make a lot of decisions in your own head because
Right.
there's nobody to,
Bounce off of.
what would you do? Like all of a
Mhm.
sudden your multiple personalities come out, and then I would also say that, you know, I I'm sort of a funny person when it comes to the business plan.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
I don't totally believe in it. I think you need to know who you are, need to
Mhm.
know what you do, you need to know all that. But if you again, it's that black and white thinking, like if this is your
Mhm.
business plan, you might miss an opportunity. That's gonna be good. So I would just say you write it in pencil and have an
Agreed.
eraser and switch it. And I think every year you need to sit down and reevaluate how did that
Agreed.
go? How did that work? But moving from one to the other, you become the salesperson, the pitcher, the order taker, the accountant, the bookkeeper, everything.
Mhm.
And then when you throw, again, when you throw a pandemic in and you're like, holy crap, it's so funny because it's
So many people we're feeling that.
yeah, it almost becomes like, and I can tell you, there's people who go right back in.
Mhm.
They start it and then they're calling you to say, get me a job again because I don't want to do this. I don't
It's
go
gotta
calling
be
you.
it's
There's
gotta
a
be right, right? I mean,
couple times a year, I'll be in the shower thinking, "Can I work for somebody again?" Or "Can I," you know what I mean? Like, like, there's those days, there's those days. But, what the pro and cons, the rewards definitely outweigh the negatives.
yeah.
And, we've grown in 18 years, but I think, I think you just have to realize you're not gonna be Samantha Jones in Sex and the City.
That's it's a good thing. It's a good thing for you to understand going in. I agree.
Well,
Expectations, are key. That's good advice, and I liked the advice about bringing the keeping it gray back. Especially with the business plan, because a lot of times getting really strict and tight about certain things like that can also block you from moving forward. So I thought that was great. Now,
yeah.
could you tell us a little bit more about AFCO and Carbonate?
Sure.
Tell us what
Yeah.
you do well and what do you look for in your own talent?
Absolutely. So, AF&Co is gonna be 18 in November. Yeah, we're Bay Area based, but we now have employees in LA and Portland. And, I think in my mind, I've learned my lesson because in the pandemic, everybody left. So I had an employee in Michigan, employee in Florida. But at the heart of it, I think I want to stay West Coast focused.
Mhm.
And we focus on media relations. We focus on marketing, which, again, 18 years ago, there was no social media. There
Mhm.
was no email.
Right.
So we were doing snail mails and
You
mailings and
adapted amazingly.
yeah,
Through the
I
years.
will say, as the gray guy in the group, I miss the old days a little bit every now and then. I love getting an invitation in the mail, and I love, not people make fun of me because I used to come back complaining about how many voicemails I had versus, now how many emails I
Yeah.
have, right?
Yeah.
But somehow and when you were working in that environment 18 years ago, you thought you were crazy busy. Yeah, I just I think we never realized what the capacities our brains can handle, with all
Right.
this ongoing
Technology.
stimulation, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Mhm.
so now we've morphed into social media, digital advertising, digital marketing, and then we also do culinary and hospitality event. I wouldn't say we don't plan them, but we're event marketers and event
Okay.
marketing. And so we're lucky enough to have, about 40 clients, that we service. We do hotel groups. So we do work out of the Bay Area.
Mhm.
I'd like our team to be based here so that we're
Yeah.
all in the same time zone.
Yeah.
And we're focused on, mostly I'd say restaurants, hotels, resorts, CPG brands in the world of food and dining, and then wine. So good living is
Yeah.
how I would
Yeah.
say it.
Good
Like
living. I
just
love
good
it. Yeah.
living. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
good living. Don't call me for tech,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like, and then Carbonate was a division of AF&Co because at Kimpton, I was really known for the brand development for all these
Mhm.
restaurants and hotels, right? And all these really innovative programs like the pet program, the women's program, the LGBT program. So I was really headed up the branding there. So when I started APCO, I got a lot of calls from people that knew me for that and said, "Can you do our logo? Can you do our brand? Can you do it?"
Mm.
So we were outsourcing it initially, and then I hired, Candace, and we said, "Let's start a little division."
Yeah. No. So your
And
your other area of genius you're bringing in. I love it.
yeah, and it
Oh,
took off
mhm.
like crazy, and Candace hit her, like, 8th anniversary and came to me one day and said, like, "I really think we should break away. I need some skin in the game here." Like, and I was all into it. I was like,
Very
"Let's
cool.
do it." And so they do brand strategy, graphics. They do some PR on a national basis for their national clients,
Mhm.
but primarily they're focused on amazing storytelling and branding.
Great.
And they're based all over the country, and their clients are all over the country.
And I love that you're an employer that will reward a long-standing employee who is looking to grow with you. I
Yeah.
applaud that.
As a
That's
matter
really
of fact,
awesome.
to me, people always say to me, like, "What's your exit strategy or what's your growth plan?" I
Mhm.
would my joy would be to just see a group of employees take it and continue to run with
Yeah.
it.
I
You
think
know what I
that's
mean?
great. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
great value proposition too for your
Yeah.
for your agency. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's really smart. Well, Andrew, this has been great. There's been a lot of great things here. But before you go, could you tell us about something that you personally have either read or watched, listened to, something that just had a positive impact on your life or your career that you think other people could also benefit from?
Alright, so this isn't gonna be as heady as other people 'cause, like,
Doesn't need to be.
I'm a Jew from Jersey. I'm a little, I I love competition shows,
Uh-huh.
and
Me
I
too.
I am known for my Dancing with the Stars, America's Got Talent,
Yeah.
The Voice, and I think seriously watching those and watching the stories that these people tell, like, what they're going for their dreams,
Hmm.
is inspiring to me to, like, it sounds corny, but to go continue to go for mine. So that's, and people know I'm a softie, so I'm always crying at one of those things, but, but my other thing, is, Barry's Boot Camp. It's a boot camp that I started to attend. I'm gonna hit my 900th class,
Oh, wow.
um, and it's literally, I have to say, it saved me through the pandemic because they did online.
Mhm.
It's the only thing that you I I'm like, "Don't F with my Barry's time."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
don't
Oh,
like,
I'm fascinated.
you know yeah,
Uh-huh.
and the reason I like it so much, and I'm gonna be I tell everybody I'm gonna be 61. I'm the oldest person in the classes usually.
Hmm.
But it's not only the workout, it's the whole vibe and spirit and the concept of family that they put
Hmm.
together, and it ends with inspirational, like, stuff that, the instructor talks about, which I then take back and share at my staff meeting, so everybody knows it's my Barry's
Oh,
moment.
great.
It's my Barry's moment.
Okay. Okay. I love
Yeah,
that you have this workout aspect that gives you these inspirational moments to take forward with your team. So this is online and we can check out Barry's boot camp.
Barry's boot camp, they're gonna love me, especially if you all
Very
do
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to check it out myself. So
Yes.
Andrew, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining us on the Career Wanderlust
Well,
podcast.
thanks for having me. It's really great that you're doing this, and I really appreciate being one of the guests.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining us on the Career Wanderlust podcast. If you find value in learning from others, give us a like and subscribe. If you're looking to grow your communications, marketing, public relations, or sales and biz dev team with the best talent and quickly, check us out at paradigmstaffing.com and submit a request. We are wishing you a most successful and fulfilling career. Until next time.